or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
Yeah.
Gonna find you and make you want me. Now that I escape, sleepwalk awake.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the most electrifying podcast out here. Welcome to the Under the Ring podcast. I am your boy, the Silverback Outsider. Yes, change up the name for the week, and you see why. You see what's going on. You hear the music, you see the background, you see the t-shirt, you know what's going on today. But before we get into that, let's introduce the rest of the crew that's with us. Joining us from the Boogie Down, our boy, the champ, the street team, the man. Wait, he got the bad guy, Tito Ramon J. What's going on, Papa?
Hey, yo, what's going on, boys?
What's going on,
I
ladies and
had to do it
gentlemen?
for my guy.
I
I
feel
had
you.
to do it for my guy.
I feel you. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know, who have rarely got a chance, the official side, rarely got a chance to see this man who we talk about is our official street team, is one of the men who helped with this podcast. This is Tito, ladies and gentlemen. This is our boy Tito right here, okay? The Puerto Rican fiend, as we like to call him. Coming to us also from the great state of Georgia, Georgia. Our boy, the Luchasaurus Lee.
Too
Give it
sweet,
up.
baby.
Give it up for my boy Justin. Say what's up, Justin.
What's up, guys? I had to rock the old NWO Wolfpack shirt for my boy. Rest in peace to the legend, man. What a legacy he left behind.
What's going on? Yes, he
Yes,
definitely
indeed.
did. As you can see, we are all in our gear. As of course, there was always wrestling news, but the major wrestling news for the week has been the passing of the legendary Scott Hall. Some of you may know him as Razor Ramon from his time in WWF. He passed away after complications from his surgery. And this episode tonight, it's going to be a little different. Usually we're a little fast paced. We're talking about this and that going all over the place. This episode tonight is going to be pretty much a calm, smooth. Let's just have a good time and remember Scott.
Yes, indeed.
Night. Now, as we all know, and as I've said on numerous occasions, I am the oldest member of the podcast. Okay, if I hear anything from you, Justin, I promise you, I'll tell Mongo to cut your fucking mic. Okay.
Hey, man, I'm not gonna say anything at all.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
fuck!
say a word about you being double my age or
Thank you, and that's
Damn.
why Mongo is the goddamn producer.
Damn.
Because that's why Mongo is the
I
man.
said I wasn't gonna say those things. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I was being nice.
First of all, let's get some sponsors in here. This right here,
Sponsors.
Brooklyn. Yep, get some sponsors
Oh,
real
wait.
quick.
I got one for you. First
Let's
off,
get some sponsors.
I'm I'm snagging tonight because of Kenny's daughter.
Th-
Girl
thank
Scout cookies, baby. Girl Scout fucking cookies.
Yes,
No
my
doubt.
daughter is selling Girl
I'm
Scout
gonna have the
cookies.
dad bod still this summer, right? It ain't
My
gonna
da-
be Jericho dad bod. It's gonna be Eddie Kingston dad bod.
Mongo got his Thin Mints in freezer. Yes, my daughter is selling Girl Scout cookies. If you'd like to know about it, hit me up on Facebook and I'll get you the link. But
Word.
that's neither here nor there.
I
We
didn't hit
are
it up.
gonna we are going to talk about some of our favorite matches, or is one of the things that we remember most about Scott Hall. Now, being the oldest person here, I can honestly say I remember when Scott Hall was actually tag team partners with Kurt Hennig. I am, yes, I am that old, ladies and gentlemen. I'm that old. I remember my dad having tapes of Scott Hall and Hennig when they were in the AWA and they were teaming together, and they actually became tag team champs. I remember watching those tapes, and
You
the
know
thing
Kitty's
about
old
it,
when he says tapes.
right? Tapes.
These young folks don't know what tapes are today.
This, ladies and gentlemen, we used to have this thing called a VCR. It was this big ass box that sat on the damn under the TV. That if your parents let you touch it, you was a god. Okay, it was a big ass box and it had a tape that was about as big as this shit. As you used to put in, and it had everything on it. All right, look it up, Google it. But um, the one thing I remembered about Scott Hall from the AWA days was I used to think to myself, "Wow, Chance, you're old as fuck. Shut up, bastard." The one thing I remember about Scott Hall from the AWA days, I used to think to myself, "Holy shit, Magnum PI got Diesel and can wrestle," because he had the thick Magnum PI mustache back then. So it used to that was the first thing that popped into my head. If you don't know who Magnum PI is, look that shit up too. I'm not saying nothing. All right,
Yeah.
but then after that, Scott Hall reemerged in WWF, and I was around for the vignettes when they were showing him, and I didn't put two and two together. It was the same person. They don't know Magnum or Higgins. You are absolutely right. Um, I didn't put two and two were the same person because whether you notice or not in the WWE, they had Scott Hall playing a Hispanic man. Okay, so I used to think, who is this Spanish dude that's mad cool? Yo, this Spanish dude just got a toothpick in his mouth, just flicking it at people. And boy, was I wrong. Some bitch ain't Spanish, but but yeah,
Fucking the wrestling Tony Montana.
right. And the thing about it is, he was so cool at that fucking role. Spanish people found out that he wasn't Spanish and did not give a fuck. They still let it rock. Okay, right. None of us knew he was white until like '90s. Nobody knew he was white until he showed up in WCW, where one of the most major events in wrestling history occurred. It's right here on my T-shirt. It's right here on my wall. Tito has a T-shirt on. Justin has a T-shirt on. The forming of the NWO, and the reason why I say this was one of the biggest moments in wrestling history because it was the first time that you had major stars from one company jumping ship over into another professional company. Because at the time, these guys really didn't go bounce back and forth. You were either a WWF guy or a WCW guy. That's it. There wasn't no back and forth. Wasn't really indies how it is now and things of that nature. You was either WCW or WWE. And at the time, let's be realistic. Even for right now, WWF/WWE is the top of the food chain. So when the top of the food chain's top stars, yeah, when the top of the food chain's top stars jump ship to the next guy, and Scott Hall came in and he says, "Hey, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." That changed wrestling history. We now had something called competition and the Monday Night Wars, which then gave us some of the most outrageous wrestling moments ever in history. We that introduced the Attitude Era, which a lot of people don't want to let go. They should, but they don't want to let go. But that's neither here nor there. Um, so I'm old enough to actually say I watched a lot of this man's career, and he by far was one of the best sellers. Contrary to what people believe, he sold more than what you believe. Um, My all-time favorite match. My all-time favorite match from Scott Hall, I'm going to say is the Monday Night Raw with him and the 1-2-3 Kid. I remember staying up, supposed to be going to sleep because I got to go to school, and I'm like, I'm just going to watch a couple more minutes, and he put this no-name brand kid over on live television several times. But the first time that he put him over, it was amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, making a special appearance from an actual fucking wedding with his cup in his hand. Making an appearance from an actual fucking this is dedication to the podcast, folks. This man is at a wedding right now, getting drunk, but came to the podcast just to say what's up. Joining us right now in Cleveland, Ohio, the good stoner, my brother Mike Jones, aka Mike Hall.
Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening, fellas? Um,
What's good, Brody?
First of all, much love to everybody who support the podcast. As my brother alluded to, I'm up here in Cleveland, Ohio, celebrating a beautiful union between my sister-in-law and my new brother-in-law.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And Saturday,
Blessings,
we'll
blessings.
be celebrating my mother-in-law's life. Um, but I really wanted to just hop on here and just say two words real quick. Hey yo,
Hey yo.
hey yo. Rest in peace to the legend Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon. I know y'all probably covered it or probably talking about it right now, but I just want to hop on here just to pay my respect to that man. You know, probably Mongo can probably relate to this because we're around the same age. Um, Scott Hall was one of the first wrestlers that I saw, and is one of the reasons why I became a wrestling fan, along with him, Hogan, Nash, NWO. Um, this loss hurts. It really hurts because he was such a talented guy. He was such an amazing performer, and rest in peace to one of the greatest wrestlers to never win a world title. And it's a damn shame that he never won a world title. So rest in peace to the bad guy. I hope he has an eternal peace now. And I'm not gonna take too much time, fellas. I just want to get on here and say that. And appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody who supports the.
His feet cut off. Ladies and gentlemen, Mongo didn't cut Mike's feet off. Mike's feet cut off. As we stated, Mike is out at the vet. So that's why his feet cut off. It looked bad, but it did look bad.
All right,
But
well, we still got off to show that love.
but thank you for showing that love. But my favorite, as I said, was that moment with 1-2-3 Kid because it showed how good of a seller um Scott Hall really was for him to put this random kid over. And it wasn't the first time that he put a random young star over too. He did it over in Japan, okay? And he did it with someone who is now one of New Japan's legends. He did it with Tanahashi.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I am not old. I am seasoned like a well balanced steak. Hey, yo, Dex. So, my favorite thing about Scott Hall is the 1-2-3 Kid match and the fact that he was such an underrated seller. Tito, what's your favorite Scott Hall moment?
So this belt right here, baby, the ladder match.
It's
If
an
it
all time
wasn't for him
classic.
and Shawn, there would be no ladder matches in WWE.
Okay, here's the thing. I know this might be the wrong time to bring this up, and of all people, I am all people. I'm not even believing that I'm going to even bring this argument up. There has been rumor that the actual very first ladder match took place between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. It actually took place with Bret Hart. Bret Hart had the very first ladder match. There has been a rumor about that Bret Hart had the first ladder match, but the first one that was on television was the Razor Ramon HBK match. Now we all know I'm not somebody that is a big fan of Bret Hart, so I don't want to give
Well,
motherfucker credit.
that's the one. That's the one that matters. The one that was on TV. We don't
Right.
care about Bret Hart. Ain't got time
And
for that.
plus, it set the standard for title unification matches too.
That is true. It did set the standard for a title for unification matches. And it also set the standard for somebody putting cool ass fucking colors on the belt too.
Hmm.
Him and Razor Ramon and the Ultimate Warrior are the reason that the IC titles look the way they do.
Yeah, yo,
Right?
he told me when I met him that year in Comic Con in 2019 that the reason there were so many colors, he said, besides himself, was mainly because Ultimate Warrior had to match with his outfit. That's why the WCW, I mean, the Intercontinental and the World title at the time had so many different straps.
That shit is dope. I ain't gonna lie, that shit is dope. That shit is dope. Uh, that match though, the ladder match, you what you call it? That match, you got two guys that what they fought for damn near 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer in that match. They
Solid.
fought for damn near 30 minutes. It was the first time, as we all stated, was a televised ladder match. Started unification of
It
titles.
had, two IC champs, which later on we would get two WWE champs with Punk and John Cena doing the same shit. And
Exactly. It started a whole trend. It really did. Justin, what's your favorite Scott Hall Razor Ramon moment?
So I hit wrestling pretty young as a kid. So I was born in '94, but like my granddad had me watch.
94, motherfucker.
Yeah,
I was
you were
doing
doing. You know what? Yeah, we won't get into what you was probably doing, but anyway. So I was born in '94, but like my granddad had me in front of a TV watching wrestling, before I could walk. And so like pretty quickly my favorite wrestler became Sting because I'm a kid. The face paint and all was really cool to me. Uh,
Bro, all that. Yeah.
and we had this thing called tapes as well. And I knew how to work a VCR as I got older. And my granddad had tons and tons of tapes, and they're here in the house somewhere of NWO stuff. And so anyway, I think it was Fall Brawl, '96 or '97. They do a War Games match, and if I'm not mistaken, this was the fake Sting match, and then Sting shows up.
Yeah.
But Scott Hall put on an absolute clinic in that match from start to finish. Again, I mean, you can point to probably 100 matches where him and Nash just had, and X-Pac too, or six. The chemistry was just unreal, man. Like the charisma that exuded from those guys, like it was just watching the coolest guys in the room walk out, and their feuds with NWO and Sting. That'll be what I remember the most, I think.
The way that, to me, what amazes me with Scott is people don't realize, like, Scott was a big dude. He was considered a powerhouse. And like you said, the chemistry that he had with the smaller wrestlers was amazing. The way he, like I said, the way he was able to sell, to put people over, to just make it believable. Mongo said he liked the way Scott would sell Stone Cold's finish. I mean, he would damn near do a full backflip after getting stunned. Okay, it was crazy, but Scott also, like you said, Justin, had it. there's something that you, when you're in the business, in the wrestling business, that you have to have. No one knows it, there is no one particular thing that you can say it is. You have to have it. You got to be
Yep.
able to speak on. I guess you got to be able to speak on the mic, put on in the ring, uh, tell a story, but you gotta have it. It. Scott Hall was the reason for Crow's thing. Sure was. What you
Eh,
call it?
Kenny, I'll expound on that a little bit. There's a lot of wrestlers who are good on the mic. They can be good in
Mhm.
the ring, good backstage, whatever it may be. But it's rare to find the combination, put it all together into one person. And Scott Hall was one of those few remarkable individuals that had, like you said, it. And like, you look at The Rock. I mean, I know that some people may think, oh, he's exaggerating because he passed away. Like, no, I mean he's on the same level of Rock and Stone Cold and all those people that you think of as like the Mount Rushmores. Scott Hall's up there.
Hands down.
Like,
Hands down.
That was
because
the bad guy.
right.
I put it to you that if he wasn't up there, he still wouldn't be selling out Comic Con.
Right. Well, I mean, look,
Mhm.
there's if you had a heel Mount Rushmore, you could put Scott Hall's face on it 4 times and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just go by heels, of top heels to ever grace our screens, you can just throw Scott Hall up there 4 times and that's it. Like you don't need anybody else. He was that good as a heel. But he could work as a baby face. Like he was believable in both situations, and I think that's what when you talk about it's being able to do any character at any time and do it to the best of your possible abilities, and he did that all the time.
Listen, the fact that he used to come to WCW events before the whole actual invasion, when they stepped into the ring, come to WCW events, sit there with popcorn and in the front row, and the crowd would go crazy. He's not even doing anything, but the crowd is going crazy. The man is sitting there in a in a denim vest and a pair of tight ass jeans and some combat boots, looking crazy. And people are going nuts because guess what? Scott Hall, the guy that was on Monday Night Raw 2 days ago, is now here. He made that much of an impact. Scott Hall was the man. He was the man. Hard times don't last. What? Scott, what? I'm trying to think. Besides, of course, the NWO moment, the you brought up the moment with Sting, Justin. I brought up the moment with 1, 2, 3 Kid. What do you think? And of course, the ladder match. What do you think is another unsung moment with Scott Hall?
Did they have a second ladder match or another ladder match with him and Shawn at SummerSlam?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's an argument that one's the better one, right? Like the other one just gets the talk because it was
The
the
first.
first. But the other one might have been a better match. And like to think that you could build upon such a legendary match, I mean, I would throw that one out there. Obviously, you mentioned that the forming of the NWO, the was it Bash at the Beach, with him and Hogan, turning and becoming a part of that night. I try to think of some other ones. Obviously, I missed some of those runs, but for me,
Reggie just brought up a good point too. Reggie just brought up Scott Hall changed the history of wrestling when he entered the cage and hugged HBK. Curtain call. The curtain call. That was the first time that wrestling fans got to see behind the scenes of what goes on with wrestling.
Kayfabe was broken.
Right. That was the first time you got to see good guys and bad guys being friends. And we found out, wait a minute, these motherfuckers actually do hang out with each other. And he was a part of that. He was the
Click.
the click. The click was the catalyst for what we know now when it comes down to wrestlers and who they hang out with.
Remember, they started too sweet.
A lot of indie wrestlers stated that Scott Hall paid for a lot of their meals. I believe it. I believe it. Another one of the most iconic things that I remember is in the beginning of the podcast. If you heard the song that I was playing, Scott Hall came out in ECW to the "Ready or Not" song by the Fugees, like right after he left WWF. That shit was crazy. A friend of mine who's very close to me was actually there at the event, and if you let him describe it to you, it'll give you goosebumps. All right, Scott Hall changed a lot for wrestling. Right there you go, Mongo. And the thing about it is, the crowd had no idea who it was coming out. Imagine being here and not knowing who's coming out. You hear this and you're like, okay. Do you hear that eruption from the crowd? Do you hear the crowd going crazy for that? All right, Mongo, that's enough before we get sued.
And look, I know this is small and super, I don't know, just probably stupid, but I got the new WWE game, and this was before his passing, I guess, and the first thing I did, I had to play with Scott Hall. I had to play with NWO. Like that was the first thing I did was fire when I fired it up was I got to play with NWO. That's the impact. Is pretty much every generation. Like
look, this is the 2K.
198センチ、128キログラム、スコット・ポール。さあ、今その姿が、巨体が姿を現しました。画面右、脱力会長。
In Japan.
ケビン・ナッシュ。画面左、酔いどれだて男、スコット・ホール。
I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, trying to understand the Japanese commentators when I was younger was fucking hilarious. It wasn't until I got older that I realized I don't want to speak fucking Japanese. What am I trying to do? But
but like there's kids today that like when they fire up their PlayStation or whatever, they're gonna play with Roman or they want to be John Cena, that kind of thing. But like for my generation and back, we wanted to be NWO, we wanted to be Sting. Like those were the guys that we idolized growing up. I remember as a kid, one of the first wrestling shirts I got was very similar to the one I'm wearing tonight, which is the NWO Wolfpack shirts. Like I got one of those when I was a kid. I've still got them in there somewhere. I've got action figures of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and of course like 40 of Sting. But like his impact goes beyond just watching his matches. It's like I tie a lot of great memories as a child to watching him on the screen doing whatever. Like I think of all the moments like me and my granddad spent together watching wrestling together. That's the type of impact that guys like Scott Hall have beyond just, hey, he put on a great match with so and so, or he put on a great match with so and so. I have a lot of memories just tied to my own family watching him on my screen, and that to me that's the impact that I'll remember the most about Scott Hall is just he was always on, and you mentioned it having it. Like there wasn't a moment I didn't enjoy seeing that guy come on my screen.
He's made a hand symbol pretty much the unified gesture to let everyone know that you're a wrestling fan. Doing this lets people know that you're a wrestling fan. Okay? You see somebody in the street and you go, too sweet, brother. They know automatically you're a wrestling fan. And what is too sweet? That is from the NWO. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan. All right. That Scott Hall actually created a universal hand symbol to let wrestling fans know it's okay to be here. You don't it doesn't make a difference where you're at. You can be at any wrestling event by yourself. You have on an NWO shirt or you have on anything Scott Hall related, somebody's gonna walk up to you and go, too sweet, brother. You could be walking down the street randomly and you're gonna get that.
I had been on the train before. With my NWO shit, with my Undisputed Era shit.
I've had people who tell me what you call it, too sweet, and it's because I was coming out of work and I had my button up dress shirt open and they saw my NW. Hey, too sweet. Hey, too sweet. Right. You throw that too sweet up anywhere in public, you're gonna find a friend.
So I obviously work in news, and there's a group of us like we're covering events and stuff, and there's some guys that work over in another town in Georgia, and I didn't realize that they were as big into wrestling as they were until like I was walking by, happened to I think I had a shirt on or something, and they threw up the too sweet, and I threw it back at them, and they're like, "Oh, you're really about like it's not just a shirt, like it's a lifestyle to some degree of
It
being a
really
wrestling
is.
fan." Because look, man, like as a wrestling fan, especially as you get older, you're considered weird, or you're considered I'll throw it out. You're considered an outsider, and when you meet other people like that, having a symbol like that just to throw up is
Comforting.
just such an easy way. Yeah, it's just an easy way to know that, like, hey, it's cool that you like wrestling. It's cool that like you enjoy a male soap opera. Basically, I mean that's what it
Pretty
is.
much. It's a
And
male
like,
soap opera with action.
right. And so I think like as a kid, like those are the things that like as you're getting older, like some people make fun of you. Oh, you still watch that? Like that's so fake. Why do you? Because I have so many memories that are great because of it. Like for 2 hours every week, I could count on wrestling. Back then, or 4 hours, or however long I watch it. But like, I could count on that. No matter what was going on in my life, I could turn that on and watch Scott Hall come out, and I could watch Sting come out, and I knew that for the next 2 hours I was going to be entertained, and nothing else mattered in this world except
Right.
watching wrestling.
And when them chicken tendies is coming.
And when them chicken tendies is coming, they were probably dinosaurs back then. With the little ketchup and the little smiley face potatoes.
But listen, he like you said, being able to go anywhere and throw that up, it does give you a sign of comfort, and he's part of the reason for that. And he's Scott Hall. That's I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. Scott Hall also taught the new wrestlers a major lesson on the rock star lifestyle and how that can affect and affect your mind, body, and your financial. By watching him and his crew taught a lot of these younger wrestlers what not to do. so they can have a prolonged career. And unfortunately, that lifestyle kind of caught up at the wrong time during the complications of his surgery. You know what I mean? When you live a certain lifestyle and you're gonna have something extensive as surgery like that, sometimes you got to make sure your body is okay to handle it. And we all know Scott like to have fun. You know what I mean? So even even in his bad, he taught people a good lesson. Even in his bad, he taught people a good lesson as far as, hey, look, don't do this, or else you're gonna end up like this. Do this, and that's what a lot of the wrestlers wind up doing. You know what I mean? So like he was he was major on so many levels. It makes I know it seems like we're beating a dead horse right here by saying the same things over and over. But these key things that we're saying were actually groundbreaking and major changing in wrestling history. Like if these things never happened, there's no telling what the wrestling landscape would look like right now. If there was no NWO, there would be no Bullet Club because they wouldn't have their sign.
Well, but it goes
There
beyond
was
that,
no
Kenny. Like,
NWO, there'd be no AEW.
but like think about it beyond that. Like, how many factions don't get started if NWO doesn't get started? Like,
There's
do
no
we have the
DX.
Shield? There's no DX. There's no Shield. There's no maybe there's no Wyatt family. Like before that, there like factions weren't as prominent in wrestling.
Hmm.
Like that's the first faction I really remember taking off and becoming its like bigger than potentially the company that it was within.
Oh, it definitely
Um,
was. It definitely was to the point that he used to do in the beginning of the we're gonna take a survey. Are you here to see WCW? Or are you here to see, and the whole crowd would go NWO.
right,
You, you're absolutely right. It became bigger than the company that they were in.
right. And so when you have that, the impact throughout history becomes this giant ripple effect of you know you just start naming off the factions that don't get built because of if NWO is not there, but then the heel work that you don't get as a result of there being no Scott Hall. I mean, you name the best heels of today, and you can bet that at some point they've sat down and studied a tape of Scott Hall. I would almost be willing to bet you money that the Miz and MJF and those guys have literally spent hours upon hours studying what Scott Hall did to be such a good heel, and that's what they use today.
And depending
And then
upon
you
who it is, sorry to cut you off, depending upon who it is, and depending upon their age, they might have actually even worked with Scott on the indie scene.
right. I mean, you're talking like 30 or 40 years worth of wrestlers that their heel work isn't as good if Scott Hall doesn't exist. Because he was the playbook. It's like, kids growing up now watching Steph Curry play the game of basketball. Before Steph Curry came along, maybe they don't
People
throw up as many threes.
people took normal
Michael Jordan,
normal jump shots.
right? Michael Jordan. Before Michael Jordan, there was no, his airness. Like this is the type of impact that someone that is that good at a specific skill of being a heel, that's the type of impact Scott Hall had on the wrestling business.
You're absolutely right, because you're look. I'll give you something that's even closer within the wrestling business. Like he used to take his toothpick out and flick it at people. You had Carlito spitting his apple at people. Where do you think Carlito got the whole idea from? He made it.
Ramon.
He made it. He made it cool to be a Hispanic wrestler, and he wasn't even Hispanic. Honestly, he made it cool to be a Hispanic wrestler, and he wasn't even Hispanic. That's major. When you can imitate a whole different culture, and that culture says, you know what, it's cool. We're gonna let you rock, and it still rocks to this day. No one questions that. Of all the stereotypical stereotypes and racial shit that wrestling does, no one ever questions that. You know that, right? Everybody's like, yeah, okay, Scott Hall, they raised Ramon. What's the problem? What's the problem? And that's how it is because he played that role so fucking well that you can't say that he wasn't whatever he was. And like Justin said, it his impact transcends to different portions. Like the factions, you're absolutely right. There would be NWO was the biggest faction I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And we're not talking about the days of when everybody joined the NWO at the end. Where Dennis Rodman's walking down. This is the early days when it meant something to be a part of NWO, and not to say that, but they to some degree at the end of WCW they cheapened it a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely did.
But
Everybody
during their prime run, there's not probably a better run in wrestling. And I'll take it a step further with Scott Hall's impact. A lot of people consider Hulk Hogan to be one of the four greatest wrestlers of all time. I don't care about him, the person. Him, the person, is a despicable person. I don't care about him. But the wrestler Hulk Hogan, a lot of people consider him to be. You guys hear me?
You just went out right now. Hello? We can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, brother.
I can't hear you. So hopefully that'll come back in a second. I might have to leave. But if you can hear me, nod your head.
We can hear you.
Good. So you look at Hulk Hogan being a top 5 wrestler of all time. I think there's an argument that Hulk Hogan is not in that argument if it wasn't for Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and what he did with the NWO. I think they elevated his career to another level, which says a lot about a guy who had already done so much in wrestling at that point.
What they did was they kept Hogan to just piggyback off of what Justin just said. I feel that you can say that is correct. They helped Hogan stay relevant at a time where an aging Hogan was about to fizzle out. The red and yellow Hogan was definitely about to fizzle out, where nobody was going to be interested in saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, or anything like that. And thanks to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, he was able to reinvent himself. Thanks to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, they got the greatest face character in wrestling to turn heel. Because let's be realistic, there was nothing more being a face than saying your prayers, eating your vitamins. There's nothing more than being a face than telling the kid to do that every single time. You know what I mean? And they got that guy to turn into a goddamn bad guy. That's unbelievable. That's that's remarkable. Um, we could do a whole hour show on Scott Hall, but we're gonna do a little bit more news, and then we're actually we might get out of here early tonight. We don't know yet, folks. Who knows? Um, Tito, you have anything else you want to say about Scott Hall? Can't hear you really good on your mic. I might be the only one with a working mic right now, but we'll see. That's all right. All right. We'll get back to you. The other big piece of news that I want to bring up that happened is the fracturing of the C1 and the C6 of one Mr. Etienne. Etoile Etienne. If you don't know who that is, he is better known as Big E. Big E suffered a fractured, well, broken neck thanks to a bad landing with a belly to belly suplex that was delivered by Ridge Holland on Friday on SmackDown. Now, it looked bad from the minute he hit the ground. I was watching it and I was in the chat with the rest of the guys. And the minute he hit the ground, the first thing I said in that chat was, "Oh shit, something's wrong with Big E. Look how his body locked."
Mhm.
I said, "Look how his body locked up." I said, "Something's wrong with Big E." I said, and he's still down. He landed. Ridge Holland went for a belly to belly outside of the ring, and Big E landed directly on his neck.
Kenny, is it just me or is Ridge Holland dangerous?
It is not just you.
Like he's dangerous, but not even just to other people. He's dangerous to himself.
He's dangerous to himself. If Ridge Holland's career since he has been in the WWE has been nothing but injury. His first major injury, the man shattered both his legs.
Oh,
catching
that was the nastiest thing I've seen.
Catching Oney Lorcan from Oney Lorcan was doing a dive through the ropes. Tope Suicida through the ropes. And
so that's
Ridge,
a Tope Angelico to you, Kenny.
That's a whatever the fuck Excalibur calls it. That's what it is. Oh, whatever the fuck Excalibur calls it.
He makes up words to go with Tope. Like that man's out here talking about some Tope chicken parmesan.
Right. Oh my God, a Tope Heinz ketchup 57. Like whatever the fuck Excalibur calls it. But he went to catch Oney Lorcan in a goddamn. No, we're not talking about Tony D'Angelo. Shut the fuck up, Margo. Some of us actually like Tony D'Angelo. Damn it.
Whoa! But don't talk about Spaghetti Man.
Right, we don't badmouth him over here. But first time Tony Lorcan.
Tope chicken parmesan. That's what he's talking about.
Right.
Don't mess with Spaghetti Man that way, bro.
Right. He caught Oney Lorcan doing a dive and wind up tearing both of his knees. Tore both of his knees and like tore his quad. Just catching somebody. The next time he wound up breaking his face open. Damn it, broke his nose. Then he tried to break Ricochet's face. And now he just tried to kill Big E. Big E. The one superstar that is so liked, every wrestling promotion has wished him well. AEW people have been wishing Big E well all over Twitter. AEW has wished Big E well. Okay? You got nerve.
Here's the thing, Kenny. Sorry to cut you off, but here's the thing. Anybody else does that to a top star? I mean, you look at what Nia got buried for hurting Becky, right? Was it Nia?
Mm-hmm.
Nia gets buried for hurting Becky. Some people are saying, please don't bury Ridge. He doesn't deserve it. Bro, every memory of this man in WWE is an injury at some point. He is a danger to himself and others. He may deserve that burial, bro.
Ridge isn't going to get... Why can't we hate on Ridge like we hated on Nia? Oh, we can definitely do it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
But no.
We should have never did that fucking move.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. We can hate on Nia. If we should be able to hate on Nia is dangerous, then by God, we better be able to say Ridge is the same problem.
Oh, of course, that won't be the issue because Ridge has an advantage, and we all know what it is.
He's got a couple of advantages, but yes.
Right. We all know what those advantages are. He plays rugby. Yeah, okay. If you want to call it that. But unfortunately, all right, you know what? I'll keep it out there and I'll say it. Unfortunately,
he's a white dude.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a white dude.
He's a white dude with a decent physique and unfortunately with Nia, she is a woman of color, and she wasn't the typical Barbie doll that Vince could sell. And so she had 3 strikes against her already. Versus Ridge is he's in shape, he is white, and he is a man. Therefore, he has everything that Vince wants, or everything the company wants. And so he can get away with things like this.
Word.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, that was a white guy that said that just now, not me.
The white delegation has cut Ridge Holland. We have cut Ridge Holland.
And the black delegation said we ain't even want him from the beginning. We didn't want him from the beginning. So,
if anybody's a fan of the old Dave Chappelle, old Dave Chappelle sketch, you'll get that one.
okay. So, but this man injured the guy who helped hold down the company when there was nobody left. I'll just let Justice speak for me on this one. You're right, Mongo. But when there was nothing left, when there was nobody left because of COVID, the man was holding it down. And you know what? People always talk about, oh, he had a mediocre title run. No, the fuck he didn't.
No.
No, the fuck he didn't. No, he didn't. Every time you turn around, Big E was defending that goddamn title.
And truly, they kept him in a position where if they wanted to get him back into the title hunt, they could have done that at any time. He was very well protected too. In my opinion, like he still had the ability, if they wanted to pivot, they could have had him go win the Royal Rumble. He was a favorite for that. He was probably had an opportunity to maybe go win another tag title. Like, he was still at the top of the thing. So, like, yes, his title run got ended prematurely, potentially, but they did it for a bigger match at WrestleMania, and you can't really fault him for that. But he had a good run, and
Exactly.
he's somebody that they can always come back to and give him another run because of how successful that run was.
Yep. And here's another thing. A good point that was just brought up. Someone said, you know what else? None of those women tried to get the fans to back off of Nia. He was defending Rich 15 minutes after he got into the hospital. That is very much true. We did not hear Becky say, oh, it was an accident. Nia didn't mean to hurt me. We didn't hear anything about Kyrie saying, oh, it was an accident. It happens in the wrestling business. That's it. And here's the thing. Nia got crucified for hurting 2 people.
Of course, not it's kind of going off a rocker now. But anyway, that's not the point.
Right.
That's part of why she got forced out of WWE. Now, her being salty after the fact is kind of getting old. But, some of that is probably that saltiness is built around the fact that people like Ridge Holland can go around hurting people and hurting themselves and continue to get pushed. And while she's had to get shuffled to the back of the line, held off TV or whatever it may be. And look, say what you want. Like, yes, she hurt Becky. And yes, it hurt a singular match. They did not.
No, it did not.
A singular match. But
here's the thing, though.
Here's the thing. It did, though?
It made Becky a fucking superstar.
Thank you. I was getting there. It made Becky into the man. Like, that image of Becky being busted open is what launched her. They had no choice at that point but to put the rocket on her back. And that's simply because Nia hurt her. But they don't make her into the badass that she was without Nia hurting her.
You are 500% correct on that. You are 500% correct on that. Because she was I'm tough. No, what made you tough was bleeding. Bleeding real blood. Not blading yourself or nothing like that. Legit having your nose broken and bleeding real blood and still talking shit. That's what got you that image as the man.
Well, that gave her that moment that she needed to solidify herself as a badass, as the tweener, the I know what she was going, the Austin of that particular division, right? Like she was going for that kind of like tweener of like, I'm not a face, I'm not a heel, I'm a badass. And that image, that's the image we all remember of the moment she became a badass.
Mhm.
Because it certainly wasn't, carrying Seth's balls around in her purse for, 4 months after that.
Definitely was.
What we remember is her walking around with a bloody nose.
Exactly. Another point that was brought up, maybe the men just support each other more. You know what? That is a very valid point when you are in a division that does not get a lot of television time. So you will do anything that you can to make sure you're one of the people who does get the television time. That makes a very big. The men's division, at some point, every guy knows they're going to be on television. Every guy in their locker room knows at some point they're going to be on television. Not every female knows if they're going to get a match.
And if they do, they don't know it's going to be 5 minutes or not.
Right. They don't know if it's going to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if it's going to be a 30-second, if they're going to get a segment. So if there's
or they get a second chance if it doesn't go well. I mean, how many
Right.
people has WWE? How many women have WWE brought in to do one segment and then immediately it's like, yeah, this isn't working? Who's old girl that came out with Dewdrop for a while? What was her name? Eva.
Oh, Eva Marie.
Eva
yeah.
Marie.
What? Like she's gotten like 5 chances, but like they never let her have a sustained chance. And I'm not saying they should, because she's not very good. But the fact
You know what
of
it
the matter
is?
that girl
Anytime
has
that
never.
anytime
they
they
don't give
feel
her-
that they don't give her a chance because they have to let her actually do something. If they just let people
Yeah.
look at her, they'll be fine.
Yeah, but like, but they continue to give her a chance, and then realize like 30 seconds later, oh man, we really shouldn't have given her a chance. But like, the people like her are what cost the ones that are actually pretty good. Like, say what you want about, I don't know, I'll throw out Ruby Riott as one. She never really got a chance, and I'm not saying that she's gone over and made a ginormous impact over in AEW, but Deonna Purrazzo. That's a perfect.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm about to say don't
Yeah.
use Ruby.
Yeah,
Don't use
yeah.
Ruby
Deonna
because I'm gonna be
Purrazzo's
honest.
the-
Ruby
yeah,
hasn't
Deonna-
done.
Yeah, Deonna's the better one, but they didn't give Deonna a chance, and we've seen her for the last 2 years, year and a half, be not just the best wrestler or women's wrestler in Impact. She's been the best women's wrestler in the world.
She's holding 2 belts currently right now.
She's the best women's wrestler in the world, and they didn't give her a chance, but it's because of the people like Eva Marie who they've given 5 chances to and realized 30 seconds later, yeah, this isn't good.
Britt. They had Britt for a second. There's a lot of females who don't get a chance. So I completely understand why the females wouldn't say something like, "Oh, she got the thing." Well, she's not there, then that means, hey, I can step up. I'm good. I'm good. So yeah, it is and with the men's division, they know they're going to get a chance. They know they're going to be on TV at some point. If they fuck up, they know they're going to have at least 2, 3 chances to fuck up before it's really over for
I
them.
mean, heck, Jackson Riker can go out here and storm the Capitol and he gets 34 chances. I mean, and yeah, Mongo, what you put in the chat's exactly right. Is you can be a great wrestler, and that's what I was getting at earlier with Hogan. You can be a great wrestler and be a bad person, and you can appreciate both of those things. Like I can sit here and call out the fact that Hulk Hogan's a bad person, but Hulk Hogan's also a great wrestler. But I think it's important to make that distinction, though. I think it's important to say that.
Can I say something with regards to that?
Yeah, go for it, King.
Once again, bringing up my age, being old. Hulk Hogan. I love Hulk Hogan. I hate Terry Bollea. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
And as a black man, I know we're supposed to cancel Hulk Hogan because of what he said. Hulk Hogan didn't say that. Terry said that shit.
Yep.
Hulk Hogan told me to say my prayers and eat my vitamins. And Hulk Hogan told me to join the NWO. Terry said he ain't want his daughter dating no niggas. Okay?
Yeah.
If that makes sense, and that's also why I said it several times how I hate the fact that wrestlers have social media because I don't want to know your private life. I don't want to know your private life to make me dislike you.
And you brought that up many times, Kenny, is you hate the fact that wrestlers are so active on social media under their ring name. In a lot of cases.
Yeah,
Like-
that's what gets me. If you're gonna
like,
do that, have it under your
Alexa-
real name and
Like-
your ring name.
That's what
Yeah.
I appreciate about Alexa Bliss is she's Lexi Kaufman on all her social media. So to me, when I'm interacting and seeing her social media, she may have some Alexa Bliss crossover stuff. But like I feel like her opinions are Lexi Kaufman's when she's writing on there, like about her pig and things like that. She's the first one that popped in my mind. I know there's a ton of other ones, but that was my first example. But if she goes on her Facebook or her Twitter and writes something really bad, I'm going to connect that to her as Lexi. I'm not going to connect that to her as Alexa. But if she goes under the same, like if she had an Alexa account and is doing heel work as Alexa on social media, it's different. So, I want to be able to interact with these wrestlers, but I get where you're coming from on that, Kenny, is that, they really make it hard to support them because of some of the stuff they say on there when they tie it to their ring name.
Exactly. Like, and unfortunately, it's the new wave now for a lot of Mesa's that one account is Mesa, other one he's dead. No, we're not talking about that one.
We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that.
I don't want to know about
It's
furry Mace.
But the thing about it is, what makes it so much difficult now too is it's the whole new wave now for a lot of the superstars and the indie wrestlers and the AEWs and the new guys coming into NXT if they can to keep their original name, to have their own, use their government name, their birth name. I get it. You want to make a name for yourself. You want to make your name you want to be a household name. I get it. Make up a fake name. I don't want to know. I don't want to be able to look up public records and find out that one of my wrestlers that I like donated to a certain campaign that I don't like. I don't want to know that because you know why? His damn name is the same as it is there. Like I don't want to know that. Like certain things I don't want to know in wrestling is fantasy. Let's keep it 100. Wrestling is fantasy. Okay? It's people putting on a play, act, whatever you want to call it, with athleticism and gymnastics and things of that nature mixed into one. Okay? It's fantasy. Let it stay a fantasy.
Kenny, I'll throw this out there for you, and you tell me what you think of this. Chris Jericho is the first example I think of. But I just look at it as, like I said earlier, wrestling is my 2 to 3 hours, however long I choose to spend per week, that allows me to get away from real life. And part of those real life problems involve politics. They involve, things, social movements that are going on and things like that sadden me or they upset me or things like that. And wrestling is my chance to get away. But then when I see Chris Jericho walk on my screen, the first thing I think of is Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to have to think about Donald Trump when I watch it. I don't want to have to think about Donald Trump, period. But the fact that I have to do it while I'm watching wrestling is really annoying. That's what bothers me is that, like, I don't get my escape anymore because when I'm watching wrestling, I think, oh, yeah, his girlfriend stormed the Capitol. Get to see Ricochet win that title. Good times. Like, it's little things like that really bug me. Or
And that also And you know what's funny? This also plays into Scott Hall because of the curtain call. That was the first time we got to see behind the scenes.
Right.
The first time, so it all goes back to Scott Hall. Oh, this is Big E's latest video update for itself. Go ahead.
Provide a brief life update. Right now, I'm walking around in my neighborhood. It's about 80 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Wearing this matching Street Fighter. You see it. You see the shorts. Street Fighter inspired fit by Middle of Beyond. And life is good. Got breath in my lungs. It's a beautiful day. Got my little taco meat out. It's a little chest hair. That's what we call it, a little taco meat. So that's my life. That's what's going on in my life. My neck might be broken, but my heart is it's still in there. I think. Yeah. I'm just
His heart is covered in taco meat.
But look, he's on social media letting people know, look, I'm okay. You don't have to hate Ridge. I'm okay. See, look, I forgave him.
That's the man.
You know what I mean? But you're absolutely right. We did not see any female wrestlers do that for Nia. Not one. Her fans wound up doing that, which I think caused more damage.
Hey, Kenny, quick question for you, buddy.
Oh, fuck Ridge.
How far do you have Kentucky going in this bracket, bro?
I think pretty fucking far, unfortunately.
They just lost, bro.
Yeah.
So St. Peter's.
St. fucking Peter's. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's a peacock that they got. They're
yeah.
rocking.
Yeah.
They're rocking with the peacock.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Kentucky going pretty fucking far.
Me too, buddy.
I didn't have them winning though, but I think I may have had them like maybe in my final four, maybe.
That sounds right. It's a good pick normally.
Yeah. That fucking sucks.
Sorry to derail the podcast, but I know we've been keeping up with that all day, and I just wanted to get your reaction live.
That fucking sucks.
Those damn peacocks, man. You know what? Anything with a peacock is bad.
Stupid ass fucking Kentucky.
That WWE peacock taking away our network, and now they're out here destroying our bracket.
Oh my god.
We hate peacocks.
Oh, you just won some money. You know what? Bravo. Congratulations. Congratulations. Bravo. Oh, and you just won some money too, fucking Tito? Fuck you. Oh.
I'm saying ditto to the comment she made earlier.
Oh, fuck Ridge? Yes. Yeah, yo, at this point, fuck Ridge.
Hit me up. I'm gonna send you some UTR shit.
Fuck Ridge. You know what, Tito? I said this the last time you were here because I couldn't do it and I'm got tired of trying to fuck it up. Pronounce your Twitter handle right now.
Oh, all my social media handles is Bori El Maleante.
Yeah.
There we go.
Gaming Life too. If you want to get smoked in Call of Duty, Halo, Rocket League.
Catch the smoke. Bet. Kitty, you think we should play Call of Duty together?
Nah, I'm not playing Call of Duty, but
we got to get Kenny to play Call of Duty with us, Tito.
Listen, I lived a different lifestyle in life where
podcast. I was getting a couple of matches in on Warzone with my boys. My Odyssey was there. We got a couple of dubs today, so you know.
Listen, I lived in a lifestyle in a time where I didn't have video games to play with guns. I had real guns that played guns. You know what I mean?
Kenny was out here playing the real Warzone in the bar.
Look, Tito, I got real close to convincing Kenny to play Warzone with me. And then I sent him a screenshot of me dropping like a 15 bomb dub, and he's like, "I don't want to play with you no more. We're good." I was like, we'll be on the same team. He's like, no, I want to play with you. We're good.
Nah, I'm good. But going back to Ridge Holland, we need to honestly keep that same heat. And like I was saying, I think Nia's fans made her heat worse because Nia's fans were going a lot harder for her, and the examples they were trying to bring up to cover it and what they were trying to say didn't help. Like with Kyrie Sane being hurt, um, a lot of the response that I heard from a lot of people was, "Well, what do you expect her? What do you expect to happen? You know, Nia's a lot bigger than her. You know, if she tries to give her a body slam, it's going to look a lot hard." That's not the response that we should have had. You know what I mean? So I think her fans didn't help with causing what happened the way it did.
I
But
would also say just because Becky's injury worked out, like it wasn't great that Nia kept hurting people either. Like, I'm not saying we should have been happy that Nia was out here hurting folks, but we got to make sure that if we're going to hold her accountable for hurting folks, we got to make sure we hold Ridge accountable for hurting folks too.
but
Both
here's
of
the
them were
thing:
not great.
why have we not held Ronda accountable yet?
Oh, Ronda should be held accountable too. Like I'm all for, you know, the one that maybe gets a pass, like because he's been a safe wrestler otherwise, is Seth. Seth's hurt a couple people, but for the most part, dude's pretty safe.
Here's the
Outside of like 2 or 3 times, and both times that Seth has hurt people, if I'm not mistaken, over the last 5 years, that person's come out and said, "Yeah, Seth didn't hurt me. I hurt myself because I didn't take the bump right."
right. I was just getting ready to say that. Finn said it himself. I didn't trust myself enough to take the bump,
And then
and I tried to
Sting,
turn.
Even Sting.
same thing with Sting. Sting said he didn't trust himself to take the bump. That's but that goes back to what the comments were saying earlier, is maybe the guys are just more supportive of one another and they're willing to come out and speak out and say, "Hey, it's wrestling. It's not always the guy that hurt the person that gets hurt. It's not always the person that is doing the other action that's why the person gets hurt.
Right.
Sometimes it's our own fault."
Right. Sometimes, but in Ridge's case, it's always his.
It's always
It's always his. Always Ridge's fault. Always Ridge's fault. Always, always, always. Always Ridge's fault. What else do we have for wrestling this week? Because next week's podcast, we're going to be doing a lot of picking.
I didn't watch it, but I heard AEW was good this week. I heard there were some good matches. I didn't watch.
Thunder Rosa, new champ.
Yeah,
Of
new
course.
champ.
That is something that finally should have happened, and
They really should have gave her that at the pay-per-view, though.
But it's like I said before. I think they didn't give it to her in the pay-per-view because Britt needed that one win that she's never gotten over her.
Yeah. Well, but you could have done that leading into the pay-per-view.
True.
And then let her win it at the pay-per-view to me has always been where you help build a star by allowing them to go over at that particular event. And I think it's cool that AEW is allowing title things to change hands on television. That's great and all. But when you don't have a pay-per-view every month, I need those pay-per-views to feel really, really special.
and not be 13 hours fucking long.
That too. But I need those to feel really special. And typically they do. But I can't have it feel like an episode of Dynamite. Like, I can't have it feel like I need to catch Dynamite more than I need to catch your pay-per-view because that's where the title changes are going to happen.
Right.
True.
And since you mentioned AEW, Mongo just put it up. Joey Janela, the bad boy Joey Janela, is not re-signing with AEW due to them claiming heat over him injuring other wrestlers, especially Eddie Kingston.
Good. Get him out of there. I don't really care for Joey Janela.
Here's the thing. Joey Janela is Joey Janela is. You might not like Joey Janela, but I do. He's
I
a
like him.
he's a what you call it? He's a good card filler type of wrestler.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I don't know. I just never got
He's a good
behind him.
card filler type of wrestler. You know what I mean?
like it.
I don't think Joey Janela I don't think Joey Janela has it to be the top star of a particular company, but I do think
He could have
that
been good mid guy.
yeah, he's a good mid card worker. He's a
But they've
very
got so
good
many
mid.
of those, Kenny. Like there's a
They
ton
really
of those
do.
guys there, and that's
They really
that's like,
do.
when I look at their roster, and that's what I guess I'm getting at with Joey Janela, is he takes up a spot in a roster that's filled with guys that are like him but better than him. Like Joey Janela is the type of guy that I think could really do well in an ROH or an Impact, where he can be that mid card guy where there's not a ton of mid card guys that work well. Like I just didn't think he fit well with AEW from the get go. And also, I think I got rubbed a little bit of the wrong way by Joey Janela at the beginning when, like, what was it, like 2 months into AEW, he was complaining about things already and, like, he was threatening to quit and he, didn't show up for an event. And, like, there was just a lot going on there with him, initially when they first got this company started. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way from the get go.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But as far as I think he's a good mid card worker. I think he's a good mid card worker. But
Nah,
you're right. I'm not denying nothing that you're saying. You're absolutely right. I do think he's a good mid card worker. Does he make or break a company? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Him
yeah,
being
like-
gone is not going to
there you
mean
go. There you
one
go.
good thing.
Son, I liked his shit with Sonny, and then they just threw him on Dark, and we never saw him again.
That's the thing. A lot of his stuff was on Dark, and we've talked about AEW and their
I ain't going on.
shit ton of-
I ain't going on YouTube, bro. I'm not going on YouTube to watch
No,
AEW.
I
Dark.
tried to watch Dark once, and I gave up. Like I think about 15 minutes in.
Because
Now-
it's clear what they're trying to do with AEW Dark is build a catalog, and I don't care. Like those matches don't mean anything, except for like randomly when they decide to call someone up, or I guess what you call somebody up, and they were like, "This guy's getting a title shot tonight," and you know the guy's going to lose. This guy's going to get a title shot because he's 17-0 in his last 17 matches. But we've seen zero match from this person. Because they're all on Dark.
Listen, we knew shit was gonna be fucked up when they had a women's tournament with a USA bracket and a Japanese bracket, and we saw none of the Japanese bracket.
Hell no.
We saw none of the fucking Japanese bracket.
Word, and that's where Justin's favorite one came from. Old buddy. What was her name?
Old buddy, yes. Old
My man,
buddy.
my man, little dude, little man.
Dude. Little man, old buddy. Yes. Look, that tournament, the only thing I think of when I think of that is JR on TV, and I thought this man was about to get canceled. Because what's the woman that comes out dressed like Freddie Mercury? She comes out and JR goes, "Huh, we sure have never seen Freddie Mercury look so oriental." And I thought that man was about to get canceled. I just knew it. I knew they were about to cancel JR, bro.
Yo.
They are still using the term Oriental for people.
Right. He called her. We've never seen Freddie Mercury look so oriental. I just knew it. I was like, yep, wrestling Twitter's about to get a hold of this man and it's over.
The goddess of piss and shit.
No, don't you do this to me, Mongo. No, we're not doing this again.
I got her pin somewhere too.
That
been.
Right, I was getting ready to say that. I was just getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
Like,
And
damn,
her pin,
bro.
she's flipping people off too.
Like, damn, bro. You know that. Yeah. Another thing that I want to bring up before we actually, whatever. Someone is making their big UFC debut. Alberto Del Rio.
He's doing announcing, right?
No, he's fighting.
Is he? I thought he was just announcing. I may have read that wrong.
Well, he's going to be a commentator for right this second, but he's also signed a what you call the contract? A fighting
Oh.
contract too.
I don't want that. I mean, no.
I-
Don't do
I-
that.
You know what? I do want to see him get in the ring and see him get
I
his
want
shit
him to
cracked.
get his ass
Yeah,
beat.
you need to hit
Yeah.
me up on whatever social you use because I gotta send you some UCR shit. You on point with everything tonight.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point, Kenny. I do want to see him get his ass beat.
All right, I want to see this thing get his shit cracked at least a couple of times.
I need it to be like CM Punk, but worse. Like, watching CM Punk get his ass whooped was great. But I need that even more. Like with Alberto. Like, can we just get him in the octagon with Francis and Ngannou and just let Francis just absolutely wreck him?
Bye. Listen. I'm saying we could do that. I wouldn't mind that. Not
Or
one bit.
Usman. Like there's quite a few. Izzy, Adesanya. Let's throw him in there with Izzy. Let Izzy just do all that airbender stuff.
Oh, if this thing kick yo, Izzy, can you kick his face off? Like, could you hit him with the Daffy Duck? Like, you kick him so hard and his face go to the side, like one of those. Could you hit him with one of those? That'd be dope. But yeah, he's doing his USC thing. He's gonna start off as a commentator on the Spanish announce table. This is probably the one sport where the Spanish announce table don't get touched.
Don't get broke. I was about to say that.
Well, you know what? They need to break his ass on it.
This is probably the one thing where, for those of you who don't know, we do not have a like for Mr. Alberto Del Rio due to why? Because there is no separation between wrestling and real life, and we know too much about his real fucking life. Oh, get him in the octagon with Hunico and Lindsay.
At the same damn time.
Mongo, we said we want to see him get beat up. We didn't say die.
Well,
We didn't say die.
I mean,
Right.
what was that shit from the Rocky movie? If he dies, he dies.
I'm just saying.
that's not a bad point, Tito.
But I'm just saying, why do that when you can keep him alive and continuously beat him up?
You know what? That was the best thing about CM Punk is that man kept getting in the octagon to get his ass whooped again and again. And we got so many great pictures of him getting his ass whooped.
And now we have him winning dog collar matches.
Yeah.
I don't
With
like
the
that.
assist from Wardlow.
I mean, we knew that was going to happen the same way we knew that Wardlow was not going to win the TNT title because of MJF. The same way we knew that was going to happen. Those
Which,
of you,
like, here's where I like, if you look at AEW's booking, and I know we all have our AEW problems, but Wardlow wins the ladder match, right? He should be focused on Wardlow at that point. I don't know that I would make an enemy when I have a title match coming up because I know that person's just going to cost me the title. Logically, you just stay out of that.
I just don't understand, why do you have the winner of the face of the brass ring? Why do you have them not do nothing with it 2 years in a row?
The other thing,
and that's twice that somebody's won that Sonic ring and ain't win.
It's honestly the Andre Memorial Battle Royal.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. Can we not have that Sonic ring be the thing that, like, you can cash in at any time? Why they got to fight, like, 2 weeks later? Like, why don't, like, you're already putting that title on the line so much anyway. Like, why not let old buddy just hold it for a little while?
Why not just let it mean something? Just mean something.
That too. But, like, you can let it mean something by letting it be, like, a cash-in type thing where, like in Impact, they do is an option. Greg Mongo can probably tell me if I'm right on that. Option C. Mm-hmm. And like I don't know why it's not something similar to that, where like it doesn't have to be a money, deck somebody with the Sonic ring and then say I'm cashing in. It could be like option C where you're like, hey, I want to cash in my ring now. I want to fight old buddy for the title in 3 weeks, and like I feel like that would be better than just like, hey, you win this, and then you have to challenge in a week.
That's what Josh Alexander did actually to get his title.
Yep.
Right.
Josh Alexander chose option C to get his title.
Yeah, you trade it in. And like that to me would be better than just, oh, you win this ladder match. Well, 2 weeks from now you get to fight for the title. And everybody that screwed you, that you screwed to win that, yeah, they're gonna come back and screw you in that match because they haven't forgot yet.
Yeah. No. Oh, not to mention the guy that you was working for 2.5 years. Yeah, you screwed him over in his biggest match of his career, so he's definitely coming to fuck you over. All right?
Like it's just logically like it made no sense for him to do that, knowing that he had a match in 2 weeks. Like, screw him over later.
That's Mongo brought up a point that I've always made about the IC champ being next in line. Start making your secondary belt mean that you're next in line to be the champ. Yep. The secondary, back in the day, the IC title was basically saying, look, I can be the world champ. I just missed out by this much, just a split hair. But I can get that split hair.
That's what made Bobby Lashley's title run so good. It's because he had that the IC title or the United States title. Must have been the United States title. So he had the U.S. title for a while. He loses the U.S. title on like getting hit by a crutch and being pushed out of the ring and not taking the pin. And they immediately are like, he was like, I could go back and fight for that title because I probably deserve an opportunity. Or now's my opportunity to go after bigger and better things. Let me go win the world title. And that was the most well-executed transition from upper mid-card into the main event scene that we've seen in some time.
And it make your secondary title mean something. Like, I don't want the secondary title to feel like it's its own world title. If you're gonna make it feel like it's its own world title, then you need a hell of a person with it holding that belt.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they've had it feel like another world title because the people that have held it have been really good for the most part. Like
Brody Lee.
Yeah, I mean, but they've got them to that point, and then like that's where it's become more like a world title because it's never felt like, oh, like Rusev or Miro, he wins it. Like I thought, well, as soon as Miro drops it, Miro can go get the other title, but that just never happened. But like that's been with the same thing with all of them. They just go back to the bottom of the upper mid card. They never move up.
Somewhere along the line, it became complacent to just. I can't say. The thing about it is, due to superstars like Scott Hall, HBK, Bret Hart, they made their long reigns with the mid card title monumental. So that's what everyone is trying to do right now as far as the mid card title. They're just trying to make the reign monumental, not realizing that the reason that a lot of these guys weren't champions at the moment in time, well, especially like the Bret Hart and the HBKs, because Vince didn't believe in anyone their size. That's what the main thing was. Vince just didn't believe anyone in their size. And then when you have Razor Ramon as champion, you're not going to put Ultimate Warrior. You're not going to put Razor Ramon over Ultimate Warrior as far as world champ. Ultimate Warrior had the complete physical look that Vince needed. So, that's what was going to happen. But we had a couple of guys who made these monumental. So a lot of these guys are like, I can make the IC title my world title, like Miz.
Mm-hmm. And at Comic Con, that's what Darby said he wants to do with the TNT. He said he doesn't even want to go for the world title. He said he wants to make TNT title his title.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I want to stay in the G League instead of going to the pros. No. And that's the problem. Like, let the G League be the step up to the pros, like how it's supposed to be. Let the G League be the step up to the pros. Right. What you call it? Cena, I like what Cena did with his mid card run because he gave a lot of people who we didn't have our eye on TV time. And his open challenge made a lot of people stars with his open challenge. And he wasn't trying to make it as far as it's the world title. He was doing he was using as a platform to elevate the title to elevate the people to the next level. Start making that mid scene mean something. Stop making it mean something. Like,
Not with Joey Janela though. I'm sorry, kid.
oh my god. Well, you know what, guys? I think we're gonna leave on this note for the night. We all said leave Joey alone, he tries. Okay.
Leave Brittany alone. All right.
We're gonna check it out. Don't forget to follow us. Don't forget to follow us on social media at twitch.tv/under the ring pod and facebook.com/under the ring. Don't forget to follow our individual Twitter handles. You got mine, Rock Ribs 44. We got Justin D.
That's
Baxley.
me.
That's
That's me.
Tito. One more time.
Boy,
Body El Mante.
we're working on the next Hawk show.
Got you. And then we got Greg Bush.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit. Oh,
We got Greg Bush. We got Greg Bush SK02 oxygen needed.
No, man, that man lost like 150 pounds, bro. You got to go after that man like that.
Because he's still big. Now I'm just playing.
yeah.
Mongo, we love you, brother. We love you.
Before we sign off, let me give a shout out to my boy Jesse and his wife Lynn. They've got a dope food truck called What's the Dillas. Their fucking quesadillas are amazing. I had their first ever chimichanga last week. That's why I wasn't on last week. They invited me to their crib and they made me chimichangas, bro. And them shits was good. And also, they gifted me this. They gifted me a fucking title.
You can't beat that. Free food and a
Bro,
title.
you give me chimichanga and a title, I might marry you, bro. Not you,
Right.
bro, but like a woman.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Speaking of marriage, speaking of marriage, before we leave, there's one thing I gotta say. Yesterday, I was able to was able to mark 3 years of spending wonderful bliss with my wife, sweetheart. Once again, happy anniversary. I love you to death. Thank you for everything that you do for me. Thank you for allowing me to be the best me that I can be for you.
happy anniversary. And
Yes.
thank you for keeping that man right there in line.
Yes.
'Cause
Slap
he
him.
definitely needs it.
Slap him.
That man definitely needs to be kept in line.
Listen.
You do a wonderful job of it.
Hey, yo, shout out House of Glory Wrestling, bro.
House of Glory Wrestling. Shout out to House of Glory Wrestling. We go to so many. Me and this man Tito go to so many goddamn podcasts that house shows that we should be on your team. House of Glory, you know what? I got some pictures and some videos that are better than the actual cameraman that y'all hired. We're gonna talk about that. But ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to catch us next week around the same bat time, same bat channel. You know, we got a couple of predictions to do because we got a lot of wrestling coming up soon because we getting into the stretch of, WrestleMania season. Check y'all later. Right.
Who's your dad?